Thank you for your patience. I'll be right there, my friends. Okay, I was talking with my mic off. Okay. So, hello everybody. Welcome back to Forever Conscious Research Channel. Hope you find yourself having a good day. It's good to see y'all. Or good morning, at least where I am. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Okay, so tonight we are going to dive into a pre-birth memory, or a couple memories, and it's coming from a very intelligent, open-minded spirit named Edward, and yeah, you're gonna like this one. It's interesting that he's had these memories, and here he is questioning it. What occurred? So, let's pop into it. Oh, it's echoing. Oh shit! Kidding me? Hold on. I don't think I have any other windows open. One moment. All right, there was no echo. Yeah, you might have a couple windows open, Eli. All right. I'm sorry, guys. Just gonna have to redo this just for the timestamp. So, hello, everybody, and welcome back to Forever Conscious Research Channel. I hope you're doing well today. It's good to see y'all again. And so tonight we have a group of pre-birth memories. The man you're about to hear, very intelligent, open-minded spirit, who is definitely questioning things at where he should be. So it's awesome to see that, and I'm gonna reach out to him, see if maybe we can talk or something like that. We'll see. And also, Harold, if you're out there, I don't know if you're listening tonight, I did send you an email, a couple emails the other day. So take your time. Whenever you're up to it, shoot me a message. I left you another way to reach me. All right. So let's pop into this. All right. There we go. I'll leave a link to his channel and the source video. He does a lot of wildlife and nature stuff. Cool channel. So let's get into it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Well, it's about -2 today. Last night was -15. That was cold. Today, I'd like to do something I've never done before. Never in public, anyway. Today we're going to be looking at something metaphysical rather than wilderness-based. Today I'm going to be talking about NDEs, near-death experiences, and life before birth. I have two memories, very, very brief memories of life before I was born. And like I said, I've never talked about this before in public. So it's actually quite difficult to talk about because it's quite a controversial topic. And what I remember doesn't fit in with religious teachings, the main religious teachings around the world, and it also doesn't fit in with the general consensus of near-death experiences. Right, first of all, near-death experiences.
I mean, you can see already he's looking in the right areas. It's awesome.
I've always had a big fascination with them, and I've been lucky enough to know people personally, including family members, who've experienced them.
Look at that shot, huh?
I do find it fascinating, though, that most people's near-death experience closely matches their own culture or religion. Even those who say they are atheist or agnostic still tend to experience the religion from the culture in which they were raised or which their parents celebrate. Generally speaking, the near-death experience involves leaving the body in some form of astral projection, then entering some sort of white light or white tunnel, and emerging in some paradise surrounded by loved ones. And then meeting
Perceived paradise, unfortunately.
some renowned figure from religious literature, experiencing a life review, and then being told they have to return because they haven't done something yet, or they need to share the experience with everybody else on Earth.
Get back to Earth. You have work to do. Chop, chop. Let's go.
This does seem to follow a general trend. There are exceptions. Strangely enough, there is actually a quite high percentage of NDEs where the deceased individual experiences hell. A dark NDE. But this isn't often spoken about.
He's right about that. It's I can't imagine having a hell-like NDE. I'm not going to go too crazy about this, but imagine having a hell-like NDE. You come back, and then you start looking to try and figure out what the hell happened. Maybe you already know it's a near-death experience, and you see about something like 80, 85% of it all positive. It's all positive, love and light, everything's cool, but then like you're in that 10 to 15 percentile range where, you know, you had like a hell-like NDE, negative NDE. Oof, can't be easy.
My own personal experience didn't happen because I was clinically dead. It's actually in the form of two short, very, very short memories from before I was born. And I've had these memories since I was very small. Now, these two short memories I have, I've only ever encountered on 3 or 4 occasions whilst researching NDEs and past life regressions. I've only ever encountered a couple of times where other people have remembered similar situations. And trust me, that really makes you go, whoa. There's a famous medium called Dolores Cannon. And there are a few things she's mentioned which lead me to believe she's a good un. She knows what she's talking about. Now remember, this is all subjective.
I'll just say about Dolores Cannon, like she did do regressions, interesting stuff, just like Michael Newton, Weiss, and all that. But you know, as far as my opinion on Dolores, she had a good little operation going on, and capitalized very well off of it. But a lot of spin, a lot of hope porn, the waves of volunteers and this and that. Like I don't buy into any of that. But again, when you go to the regressions with Dolores Cannon and all the other regression therapists, you see patterns. Those patterns pop up time and time and time again. And it's just after a while. When they crisscross one another, spanning multiple regression therapists, you know, that was just one part of her operation. It's a lot of the other stuff that I have a big problem with. I have a big problem with the interpretations of a lot of it. But as far as the regression patients, regression data them itself, that's something entirely different. Excuse me, that's where we got to pay attention.
She's a good un. She knows what she's talking about. Now remember, this is all subjective. But there are a few things she's stated about death and the afterlife that ring true for me personally. Now, the main difference between my pre-birth memory and the standard NDE is I don't remember a world of peace and harmony and happiness and family and friends in some sort of idyllic heaven-like landscape. I don't remember that at all.
And I would say that if it were not for the memory wipe that we experience, then, you know, who knows all the details and past lives that we've been through that we only can maybe access some of them, you know, if any, if we're lucky.
Family and friends in some sort of idyllic heaven-like landscape. I don't remember that at all. The first of my memories is literally just like a view. And what it was is I'm lying, I presume, dying, and around me are several creatures which I can only describe as looking something like bandicoots.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I knew they were sentient, but maybe not too much. They were like semi-sentient. Now, what I don't know is if I was one of them, or they had just congregated around my dying form, because I couldn't see my physical self. I could only see what's around me. Well, one thing I do know is that wasn't Earth. Wherever that was, and whatever they were, that wasn't Earth. And that was the first of my memories before birth. Which sort of suggests that souls on Earth don't necessarily just come from Earth. And I don't believe they do. I believe souls go wherever.
Mm-hmm. Spirits, but whatever.
There's often an argument used against reincarnation.
Yeah, and then what he's about to say is a big one. That this is I mean, you hear people say this constantly. It's the most illogical. I mean, in their eyes, it's logical, but it really, when you look at it, it's completely illogical because it's here. Let's just say it. Sorry.
Go wherever. There's often an argument used against reincarnation that today there are approximately 7 billion people on this planet. Yet 100 years ago there were 2.5 billion. how can they be reincarnated souls
Just coming off a fresh
if there
reset.
are more now than there was prior? One
I like that. And we're not even going to mention the NPC theory.
of the arguments for this, which I believe is quite accepted in this field, is that souls come from all over. Secondly, our dimension, our material physical dimension, which has some form of linear time continuity, is not the same as other dimensions which may not have a linear time continuity.
Yep.
So when we lose our material physical self, it's possible we can be born again 10,000 years ago or 10,000 years into the future, because we are only seeing from our material perspective three-dimensional reality or four-dimensional reality, this continuity.
Yeah, I mean, I think he makes a great point. Multiple points. Like the big one that constantly just is in my head when people are like, oh, well, you know, when exactly what we talked about, the population difference and now where we're at and things like that. First off, who is to say, well, we could kind of start with the basics. The basics would be, okay, yes, you know, spirits come from all over the multiverse to come here, or they get lured in. Either way, they come in and there's some sort of agreement to enter. And then, you know, part of this existence is the memory wipe, part of coming here. So, you know, who's to say, first off, that, you know, they trickle down at a certain period. So there can't be this limitation. I mean, the limitation that people put on it is based on the confines of Earth's population. That, you know, takes away so much, like the mechanics of the system, and, you know, and we can kind of go to the more advanced thinking is that, you know, for those of you out there who've looked into the Tartaria, the mud flood, and the reset and all that stuff, especially like the resets, you know, a lot of us think that there was some sort of reset not that long ago, you know, maybe even like the 1850s, somewhere in there, because the everything is just very strange with the advancement of technology and all that stuff, and how all these buildings are left over that are highly advanced. Anyways, not to drone on too much, but, you know, it looks like we experienced some resets. So there's probably like a holding pattern that goes on while the realm is quote unquote resetting. And, you know, who knows what the actual mechanics are as far as like how many are allowed to enter at a certain time and this and that. I mean, way too many factors involved. But the biggest one is that spirits would be literally coming from all over the multiverse. Or there's tons that are still already trapped there, and there's still some coming in. And it's just, you know, this is just, we're going through the motions again. So
this continuity. Yet the soul, which has relinquished the physical self, is not restricted to this time continuum. Nor is it restricted to the space continuum. Nor is it restricted to this specific dimension.
I love his nature shots.
My second memory, which is probably for me the most important.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being in a viewing room. Now, the main difference between what I remember and what the general NDE experiences is the NDE is normally some beautiful landscape, whereas mine was a lot more technological.
I find that term interesting. It was more technological.
Mine was a lot more technological.
Hey, Scott. Good to see you, man.
To put it bluntly, it could have been on a spaceship. Because through the window, or on the screen, I can't remember what it was, I could see Earth. There was a man next to me. I presume it was a man. And this is another difference with NDEs. I don't remember a feeling of peace and comfort and harmony. At best, it was a neutral feeling, an unemotional feeling.
At best, it was a neutral feeling. Love his shots. I saw Scott post a good comment. I want to pop that in here. Scott says, the problem is that time is not linear. Most history is fake. So since time is not flowing as we perceive, the number of souls for available bodies can't really be ascertained. Yep. So many different factors, but the time thing is huge.
And the purpose of me looking at Earth through this viewfinder was this man was basically telling me or asking me to choose certain aspects of my life on Earth. But it wasn't a happy questioning. It was more like, you're going to Earth, select your program, your sequence, and then move on.
Well, so that's select your life script and get your ass down there. What are you waiting for?
The feeling I got is, before you're born, you get to choose certain aspects of what you will experience on Earth, or you will get to choose certain scenarios, negative and positive, and these form the basis of your experience here. What you do as an individual comes down to free will. How you react to these situations, because once you're born, you have no memory of choosing them. You don't know what's coming. You have no precognition.
Boy, doesn't that just kind of spell out it's like a big problem that we have with that, right? You're memory wiped. You make agreements. You pick out a life script, you pick out a body. He's going to get into more detail about that. All this stuff, all of it lines up, at least what he's talking about in this segment. And much of what he said up till this point is in complete alignment with a lot of the stuff I talk about on this channel. And again, it's to further throw evidence at the soul trap.
So what you do and how you react to these situations that you basically selected from most likely a list given to you is what your experience will be on Earth.
Notice how he said a list given to you. We talk about when we've gone through the past life regressions and some of the pre-birth memories in the past, we talk about how it's almost like there's like a bullying aspect to it where you're choosing your life script, but at the same time, you usually have guides or teachers, or maybe even the council of elders chirping in that ear of yours, trying to get you to make decisions and move the process along. It's like, oh, come on, let's go, let's hurry up. And then sometimes you have the love bombs. I mean, all different types of things. Like he doesn't really go into any love bomb stuff, if I recall off the top of my head, but he does kind of say like they're more forceful with him, and there does come a point when they get annoyed if things aren't moving along and they're not just getting down there. It's like, they're like, hey, come on, let's go. But then you choose everything with the help of them, and you come down here and, well, you don't have any recollection of it. Yay.
Is what your experience will be on Earth. Now, one of the questions is if we voluntarily choose to come to Earth, or, as certain esoteric beliefs suggest, we are sent here as a punishment to learn a lesson. That we are here to basically overcome negative and base thoughts and actions, and ultimately, reach Dharma. But these sequences, these events, many people would say you would never choose them.
No thriller or action movie has a plot where people just sit around drinking tea pleasantly for 90 minutes.
You would never choose them.
That's what my mother says. My mother said, I've tried to talk to her about, she's like, I can see all this other stuff you talk about, but I just can't accept that I could have possibly chosen my life. Well, me neither. I bet all of us, many of us, if not all of us, feel that same way. That's just the way it is. I mean, there's just too much there to suggest otherwise. There's just, I mean, that would be like, oh, everybody's fucking lying. Everybody's lying. No, not everybody is lying. Not thousands and thousands and thousands, if not millions of people talking about this stuff time and time again. This isn't even new either. I mean, we're in a modern day perspective with it, where we have access to floods and floods of data, but these are things that have been talked about since the dawn of time. And I just want to add really quickly, not going to drone too long, but the where he brings up like we're here to pay like a debt, or we were cast down here, that type of thing. I contemplated that for a long time. There is a lot of that thinking roots in religion. And really think about it. What does that do? Like almost everything else they kind of frame us with down here. They try to get us to think that, oh, we're this big problem, we're this, we're that, we're an annoyance. That's what the system kind of thinks of us. It's like, oh, we're just here like the peasants, of the realm, so to say. But I think that's just another program tool to guilt trip us, to shame us, and to strike fear in us. Think about it. It's one of the oldest narratives out there that, you know, like we could be, you know, these parasites of the universe, and so, you know, God or the creator or some outside force sent us down to teach us a lesson and blah 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 blah. Come on. I mean, I just I can't sign on to that anymore. I just can't. It's just not sin and karma. Yeah.
You would never choose them. For example, getting cancer, the death of a loved one, a bad car accident. You would never choose that. Why would you? That would be insane. But what you have to understand is this pre-life choice, it's taken objectively. There is no personal connection yet to these experiences. And life on Earth is something like, it's like a computer game that you're actively partaking in. When you play a computer game, you want to test yourself. You start off at a basic level and slowly you learn, you grow, you develop, and you get better and better until by the end of the game you're basically godlike. And life on Earth as a human is very similar. There are certain things you have to face and go through, and everybody's experience is slightly different. Not completely different, but slightly different. Your starting position is also something which I believe is based on like a point system.
Okay, so there's a lot here. He's about to talk about the point system, which is, we can even equate it to Newton's color system. I think he had the color system. All this type of stuff's like, where do you fall in the grand scheme of things? What are you deserving of? You know, how compliant are you within the system? Are you causing problems? Do you want to leave here? Well, you know, maybe you're going to get a crappy life script. But I think really the big part of the reason why life scripts and then the next incarnation get a little wacky is because you play different roles while you're here. Like, you know, you might be peaceful, fun-loving this incarnation. Then you might be an evil bastard in the next incarnation. So what they, you know, if they think about it, if they're kind of jockeying back and forth between those with us, screwing with us, and then when you pass, you go and you deal with the life script, and they say, oh, well, see, look at all this crap that you did. And again, this is a system you cannot please no matter how you slice and dice it. You just cannot please it. Okay, whatever you do will never be good enough. That's why, you know, learning what's going on here is so important, so that, you know, you don't fall for the same old tricks again. So think about it. Say you know, let's just say in your past life, you knife someone in the stomach, okay? And then, you know, you go through life, you know, you feel bad about it. You maybe even make good on it. And you apologize to the person. Who knows, okay? You try to rectify it, but still, when at times time comes to cross over, the parasites are gonna be like, well, look at what you did. You know, next life, you know, you got to make up for that. You got to make up for that karma. You got to make up for that sinning. It's, you know, it's time. The debt is due. And so they're going to make your life script a little harder. I mean, really, it could be that perfect. And that's what it seems to be. But I mean, how often are, like, is it, maybe you play, evil or nasty roles like a couple lifetimes and you play a couple good ones, or, maybe it's every other one, or maybe it's like good, neutral, and then bad, and then it kind of cycles back again, or a mix of all that and all, who knows what kind of order. The point is if they got it, if they were smart, that's how they would do it for sure. Like to keep you in this repetitive loop that, you think that karma and sinning are things that you need to, and fear and shame and all these hooks are part of sucking you back into the system, because that's all they want. They want you to, still be stuck in the system and not find yourself, not realize your true creator being abilities, and to just stay lost. So they can get that next incarnation worth of negative energy extraction or loosh out of you. It's just nuts. So sorry to kind of rant a little bit, but I think it's really important to say these things in response and in addition to what this really awesome spirit is sharing with us. Thank you, Edward. I hope you get to see this at some point, and maybe we get to talk. Excuse me.
You have points you can allocate to decide when you were born, in which time period, as what you were born, as male or female, to whom you were born, who are your parents, what do they do, how much money do they have, do they love you,
Yep.
which country, many things. What is your physical shape? Are you attractive for that time period? Are you strong? Are you...
Okay, I'm just going to read this for those that are listening in the background. Caption on the screen says, have a look at some of the most famous self-made billionaires of the last few decades and tell me how pretty they are. If you think life threw you a lemon for how you look...
Are you attractive for that time period? Are you strong? Are you weak? Are you deformed? Are you, mentally incompetent? All these aspects, these are chosen before you were born. And some of them you choose based on this point system, and some are required to, so that you can experience certain events. Earth, human life on Earth, is all about this Gnostic experience. It's about experiential learning. But there are lots of questions which I still haven't fathomed the answer to. Whether we actually want to be here or we are sent here. We are imprisoned here.
Okay. See, this is kind of, I'm going to rewind it. I know this is like a, big moment. But the way we really should look at this is that, yeah, we did at some point agree to tango on this. Now, were we lured in from the outside, which I strongly suspect is possible, that there's like this energy out there in the multiverse. Perhaps, we're flying around in our pure spirit essence self, exploring, and then all of a sudden we go, woof, we run across like this energy that's like, oh, that's attractive, like, bugs to a bug zapper, to the light. Okay. Because, that's the perfect representation of what's going on. We are drawn to the light when we leave here, or in near-death experiences, or in psychedelic trip reports who experience a death-like experience. Okay. So maybe we get kind of sucked in that way, or maybe it's just this, none of that. Maybe it's just, we knock on the door, so to say, and say, hey, what the hell's going on behind there? I want to give it a try. Eternal beings got nothing but time. You want to experience everything and anything. Well, here it is. You get to welcome to this realm where you get to lose yourself. Step right up. Meanwhile, it's a parasitic dumpster fire when you get here. Either way, it's a setup job. I'm thoroughly convinced of that. There's nothing I think that can ever convince me, at least now, or while I'm here, that this is not a setup job, a con job. But how exactly we agreed to come in here, whether it was being lured or just the equivalent of knocking on a door, I don't know. So theoretically, it's more like once you get stuck in here, it's you're just like in this holding pattern until you find yourself, till you rediscover yourself and realize your true power. I mean, it's just whew, it's a nutcase. It's a nutcase.
Whether we actually want to be here or we are sent here, we are imprisoned here. Some people can go through life and think life is perfect and super and the world is great. Other people can live through hell their entire life and suffer horrifically.
Yeah.
A lot of this is preordained, predestined, and a lot of it is through personal choice.
Yeah, and I think that's so important to expand upon. I know I'm pausing it again, but he's just firing the stuff out there, okay? Yes, things are preordained. They are chosen with your life script. But you can't forget that you do have free will. I know that, there's a lot of pushback on there. Oh, we don't have free will. We do. We wouldn't even be having these conversations right now if there wasn't free will. The system would simply not allow it. It wouldn't be allowed. You can make a choice to go left or go right. But you know what? Where the free will is it's limited within the confines of A, the system, and B, the body. Okay? And we can even go a little bit further. C, how receptive you are, how persistent you are on asking questions and demanding answers and trying to find, things about the fabric of where you live, things about you, the body, the whole experience around you, and asking the deeper questions. So all we have is, I mean, it's the funniest. Yeah, it is funny. It's a funny word. It is. It's free will with limitations. How wacky is that? But that doesn't mean we don't have it. We have it. It's just really screwed up.
A lot of this is preordained, predestined, and a lot of it is through personal choice.
Yeah, the flesh and
personal
the realm.
Perspective. There are so many factors we as humans can't really understand. But from my memory, we choose a lot of what we experience. Now, where this place was, this viewing chamber, I have ideas. Like I said, it could have been in a spaceship. Wherever it was, it's outside of Earth, looking in. A good candidate is the moon. Or it's another dimension with a portal which faces our own, which borders our own. And we pass from there to here. But that's the two experiences I remember. But one thing I did come away with from the second memory, because the first memory doesn't really help me in the slightest, but the second memory, about choosing life before you're born in some sort of technological setting is that life is for experiencing. We only have a very short period in this form. We have 70 years. And the world is getting smaller and smaller because of globalization, but there is still so much to experience. You know, theoretically every day you can wake up and be a completely different person. You can move to a different country, start a new profession, you know. You can marry another person, you can live like a monk in a cave. It's up to you. But you only have 70 years to do this. In fact, you have less, because as a child you're restricted by what your parents decide, and as you get older you're less and less physically capable of making big leaps. So you have maybe 40 years, 50, where you can really experience the world and experience everything. Because I think that's what it's about. I really do. As always, be free.
Love it. Talk about a great ending, right? Be free. Okay, so that's gonna wrap up this first segment that we've gone through tonight. And I've got a couple more. These are they'll be going over some text. I'll do the text to voice transfer, I guess, through the website, and pop it up here on the screen. And just really quickly, I wanted to give a special thanks to T for your very kind donation of $25 the other night. That was very kind to you. I just saw it tonight, so thank you so much again, T. You're always so generous, and can't thank you enough. So let's see. Also wanted to, I think I'll just take a break from here. And for anyone new, I do have two YouTube backup channels in the description: an Odyssey, a D Live, Instagram, Twitter, and something else I'm missing there. Anyways, all the links are in the description. Feel free to check them out. And I will see you back here in about 5 minutes, and we'll get on to the next segment. See you shortly. Thank you. You're welcome, Jeremy. See you in a moment, my friends. You're welcome, Shannon. Thank you. Hello, brother. Coming back. Yes, we came here to experience the suffering. It's all part of it. All came here. Okay, for the suffering. All here for the suffering. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Remember the the video, which one was it called? The Stockholm Syndrome on steroids, 2-part video series I did, where they came here to have, cancer, and, that's why they're here. They're helping the world ascend. They're helping the world transform, and they're before our very eyes. And remember, he slipped and he said something like, what was it? The homeless are looked at as lower than us, but, or something like that. And I was like, what? I mean, it just showed his true colors so great. And he kept saying, I have a book. I have books. And well, in this book, there was this. In that book, there was this. I mean, that That guy, ugh, he is a real piece of work. Complete and same. The whole production was just vile. All right. Anyways, moving along. What the hell? It just said OBS Studio crashed. Hello? Oh man, it said it reconnected just a second ago. Okay, thank you, enemy of 322. Thank you, Jimmy. Okay, that was strange. Okay. Yeah. I guess they didn't like me talking about, well, I'm not going to say that, but it's just kind of funny that I was talking about that guy and that whole parasitic production, and then all hell breaks loose. Anyways, I'm not like I'm reading into it that deeply, but anyways, okay. Oops. Oh, I can't do that. I gotta keep it like that. All right. So the first experience is from EP is the initials. But he talks about how he was not allowed to remember. And yeah, very, very interesting account here. So let's dive into this. And I will be leaving links to this one after we complete. So here we go. And again, thank you for joining me today.
EP's experience description. Right. I have only told around 7 people the following, and none of my family. Reason? I would no doubt be labeled delusional, fanciful, or similar. Those I have told have been loved ones, or open conversations with others interested in this kind of thing. I have had the following experience/memory all my life. When I say all my life, I literally mean just that. Not only is it the first or earliest thing I remember, but I know that it happened before the rest of my life, so to speak. I have always had this memory. Always. I have thought about it from age 0, if that's possible. I clearly remember thinking about it when I was at least 3, and intrinsically know that it happened way before that age. I have not stopped thinking about it ever since. Not a day goes past. I am now 40. I am also not given to New Age woolly-minded liberalism either. I have a logical, scientific mind, and I am also very creative, so have rationalized this to death, as it were. In terms of it being real, all I can say is that I know it happened. It wasn't a dream, it isn't a false memory. When you know something, you know it. It's not a case of I strongly feel this happened. It is real. The description I am about to write down for the first time is very stereotypical of tunnels/light/angels/love. It may perhaps seem very cliché, but see my notes at the end of the description as to why this is itself interesting. What I remember is this. I am drifting up a tunnel. It is vast, and white. To my right and above, near me, is another being/person, whom I recall as possibly being female, and somehow with me. We are drifting up. There are others drifting up too, although further away.
Okay, what does that kind of remind you of? If you've seen Soul, we talked about it yesterday in the end, that wild NDE. You know, that just a bunch of souls drifting up. So let's continue.
There are others drifting up too, although further away. When I reach near the top, I am looking up, and all around the edge of the circular tunnel are faces looking down at me, dozens/hundreds. All are angelic, beautiful, off the scale. This is in fact a rather large understatement. The sense of love is not describable. I have a strong, that would be the
sense of love is not describable. I have a strong, that would be the biggest understatement. Let me just actually put this here.
The sense of love is not describable. I have a strong, that would be the biggest understatement in the universe, urge to be with them. When I reach the top I can see tears, like balcony rows in a theater, all filled with what can only be very stereotypically described as angels.
Okay, I mean, again, we're right back to typical. You have love that can't be described. You have a strong urge to be with them, basically as if they're like family, you've known them. And then you have the balcony rows in a theater. Like, remember we've talked about before how in a lot of NDEs, you see something like a stadium that is just cheering you on. Oh, you did it. You did great. Blah, 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 that type of thing. So it's hitting all the points.
When I reach the top I can see tears, like balcony rows in a theater, all filled with what can only be very stereotypically described as angels. There is a sense of male and female, but really all sense of earthly description is no longer valid/needed or applicable. The angels have wings. This bit is really important for me. The sense of absolute awe, power, love, joy, whiteness, light, humility is off the scale. It is simply not describable. Think of the most love you have ever felt, multiply it by the largest, most infinite number you can think of.
I mean, again, smashing the pattern, smashing the data points left and right. Let's continue.
Think of the most love you have ever felt, multiply it by the largest, most infinite number you can think of, to the power of, even, and you will not even be close.
Won't even be close.
It is not able to be described or appreciated by our language. You'd have to be there. This sensation is what I remember most of wanting to be with these angels, of wanting to be accepted. I recall knowing that I was not as pure, for want of a better word, as these beings, that they were in some sense higher than I was.
Okay. I recall knowing that I was not pure as these beings, that they were in some sense higher than I was, but that they loved me. And in fact, they loved everything and everyone. Again, just smashing the data points, but what is that also showing us? It's showing us that they are better than him, and that he better step in line and go along with the show. You know, the hierarchical system that we see here is going on in the astral. And we can bypass all this crap. We don't have to deal with this stuff. So, let's continue.
I recall knowing that I was not as pure, for want of a better word, as these beings, that they were in some sense higher than I was, but that...
And it just sucks. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt again, but it just sucks to hear them, him or her, I'm gonna say this, you know, and feel this way about themselves. But, you know, when you're in the thick of things, they've got all the, they hold all the cards. We need to stand our ground and be strong. And the moment we realize we've left our body, all hands on deck, all of your own astral hands on deck to save yourself and liberate yourself.
I recall knowing that I was not as pure, for want of a better word, as these beings, that they were in some sense higher than I was, but that they loved me, and in fact everything/everyone. The being to my right I described earlier I do not remember any more of. There was a flow of understanding between the angelic beings and myself. They understood me. I think I was just in awe of them for my part. I felt very small, very humble, again an understatement. I am then aware of meeting someone/something and communicating, but this is a blank. A deliberate blanking. I feel I was not allowed to remember what took place.
Well, well, well. What do we have here? A memory wipe, front and center. I am then aware of meeting someone or something and communicating, but this is a blank. A deliberate blanking, I feel. I was not allowed to remember what took place.
But this is a blank. A deliberate blanking. I feel I was not allowed to remember what took place. It was a meeting with something more powerful, and I didn't have any choice in whatever it was that took place. But the upshot was that I had to return down the tunnel. The other sensation I remember most vividly at this point was that I was so angry/disappointed/sad, you could probably merge all these emotions into one, that I could not stay.
Yeah, not allowed to stay. Not allowed. Simply not allowed. Just being angry, upset that you feel like you're at home. That's what they do. They set us up to make us feel like we're at home, that we belong there, blah, 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 blah. And, well, sorry. Access denied. We're bigger and better and brighter and more powerful than you, but we love you. We love you. But get out of here. See, I mean, it's sick. So sick. We see it time and time and time again, over and over and over.
This was a big blow to me. I was really sad/angry. I remember going down the tunnel, no choice on my part, I just went. After that, it's childhood memories. So I have thought about the above every day since. I remember it when I was a child of 3, and wanting to be back there. The tunnel, faces, tears, wings, joy, then going back down, and anger/sadness, all have been thought about every day from at least that age, and I know it happened way before that. Given that my experience is a very stereotypical account of the archetypal tunnel with light and angels at the end, the question my logical mind has been asking is if this is a false memory. How can a child, of at least 3 but in fact a lot younger because I've always had this memory, come into contact with a written or visual account of such an experience? This would be the 1970s, and comprehend it, and then memorize it.
Yeah, it's not a false memory at all. It's just they are trying to wrap their heads around the experience. And, well, given the type of society that we grow up in, it's only, natural that if you're kind of coming at this, with a materialistic upbringing, I'm not saying the person writing this is materialist. It's just that the programming within them is preventing them from being more, I guess, accepted or accepting it about them. But I mean, you just heard all of the things that we've gone over so far, and it's just packed with truth. So what you're kind of seeing here, I believe, just to clarify, is that, there was like, almost like you see something like a near-death experience, but then we're kind of switching over into a pre-birth memory, or like, on the way. I mean, it's like a little crossover going on. So how this would exactly land, you feel free to make up your own mind on that one.
It's not as if there were NDE accounts littering my nursery floor for me to read, if I could read at that age. And how do you implant the immense emotions attached to the arriving and leaving of such a place? Be aware that this memory has not changed in the slightest. Not the tunnel, not the faces at the rim as I was rising, not the tears, not the wings. It hasn't grown any more in my mind since the time it happened. Nothing has been added. As far as I know, as a child I didn't have any accidents which required resuscitation either.
See, like, that's a big one. That's where, they're saying, listen, as far as I know, I didn't have an NDE. This falls more in, I mean, even though there's a lot of components of an NDE, I mean, there's still a tunnel, like, in pre-birth memories, that can lead you here. A lot of things that, we're seeing almost like two things cross over. Sorry for repeating myself there. Near-death experience, pre-birth memory.
So that is my logical mind attempting to find some other explanation. But I really know that it did happen. I can't deny it any more than I can deny that I exist. I know you exist after you die. And I guess that my biggest fear is that I won't be able to stay again next time, even if I get to the same place. Throughout my life, I've always thought to myself, I don't want to come back here, again.
All right, so, you know, I hate to say it, if the author and experiencer is watching this channel for some reason, this is where things can go really wrong. You essentially feel like you're at home when you're experiencing that place that you were at. But then in the same breath, right after, you say, throughout my life, I've always thought to myself, I don't want to come back here again. Well, where's the problem there? Where home is perceived, where you came from, is part of the matrix system. So, and the sad thing is until we find ourselves and realize our true powers and that we can transcend this entire dumpster fire, it's just going to keep going. Okay, so let's continue.
Throughout my life, I've always thought to myself, I don't want to come back here, again. Which is sad, I guess, but when you've experienced the absolute joy, not describable, you really don't want anything but that. I've started to read the NDE accounts on this site, and can identify strongly with many of them. Sadly, I don't remember, or not allowed to, the reason why I am here and not there. Or what I am supposed to do here. What I really am looking for when I recall my experience is how am I doing? Am I making mistakes? What do I have to do?
Am I making mistakes?
Really don't want to have to come back because I made a mistake, or didn't live my life in the correct way, or didn't measure up. How do
I mean, this is where it's just really sad. You hear a real spirit here just saying, you know, that there's like they're blaming themselves or setting themselves up to blame themselves. And it can really, if they don't see what's going on with the whole system here, they're screwed. If they don't realize their true power and that they can deny these interactions at the time of death. Because remember, these parasites come in at the most opportune moment. And in some cases, they're working on you leading up to your death while you're still here in the physical. Deathbed visions and visitations and premonitions. We see it time and time again. So, but like, as far as like what the extent is to why that occurs, we don't know. It's not like we have a number that we can associate with it and say, okay, well, 30%, 50%, 80%, 90% of the population experience things like that. But it doesn't really matter whether you're experiencing it or not, because either you're going to fall for it or you're not. Yeah, it's tough.
How do you know how you are doing? At the time of your experience, was there an associated life-threatening event? No. Was the experience difficult to express in words? Yes. At what time during the experience were you at your highest level of consciousness and alertness? At all times. How did your highest level of consciousness and alertness during the experience compare to your normal everyday consciousness and alertness? Normal consciousness and alertness. Please compare your vision during the experience to your everyday vision that you had immediately prior to the time of the experience.
Okay, I'm going to skip some of this. Okay, what emotions did you feel during the experience? Absolute joy, love, happiness, awe, all off the scale by an infinite factor. Did you pass through a tunnel? Yes. Wide, vast tunnel, lit or white, with others all ascending. Did you see an unearthly light? Yes. Everything lit in white all around, surrounding encompassing light. Did you seem to encounter a mystical being or presence, or hear an unidentifiable voice? I encountered a definite being or a voice, clearly of mystical or unearthly origin. Hundreds of what I can only describe as very stereotypical angels. Yes, they had wings, male or female or neither, or both. Hard to say. Communication was not oral, but experienced, hard to describe. Did time seem to speed up or slow down? Everything seemed to be happening at once, or time stopped or lost all meaning. Did you reach a boundary or limiting physical structure? Yes. The boundary seemed to be the top of the tunnel or just above it. Once above, I couldn't go any further. Did you come to a border or point of no return? I came to a barrier that I was not permitted to cross or was sent back against my will. Did you come to a border or point of no return? I came to a barrier that I was not permitted to cross or was sent back against my will. Okay, so this is the reason. The reason for this, we've talked about this quite a few times, because this is something, you know, some of you can see out there and say, "Oh, that doesn't sound good." It's not good, obviously, but the thing you got to take into account is that whatever the initials are, ER or EL, has already gone through the whole process. Once you reach the point of picking at a body, agreeing to come, and all that stuff, that's it. It's over. You're coming back unless maybe you can use your intention. But I think they have these energy forces. Remember, we're dealing with the love bomb and all this other stuff. They want to go back because all the love, and that they feel like they belong there. But at the same time, they keep sending him back because he agreed to do it, and so they're kind of like moths to a flame, trying desperately to go back to where they think is home. But it's all still part of the matrix. So if they don't find themselves, then that's it. So that I seriously think the time for us to find ourselves is while we're here in this physical body, because the memory wipe is so strong. And the love bombing and the guides and the masters and the soul group and the feeling like you're home, on and on and on. I mean, the deck is stacked against us beyond belief. So the intention has to really be strong when we leave here. Okay. So, during your experience, did you encounter any specific information, awareness suggesting that there is either or is not continued existence after earthly life? Like at life after death? Yes, the fact that I experienced a tunnel and everything else indicates to me that you clearly exist after you die. Okay, during your experience, did you encounter any specific information, awareness that God or a supreme being either does or does not exist? Yes. The fact that I experienced something that I was not allowed to remember and everything else indicates to me that there was a higher presence involved. Yes, the fact that I experienced something that I was not allowed to remember and everything else indicates to me that there was a higher presence involved. During your experience, not allowed to remember. That's the memory wipe. During your experience, did you encounter any specific information, awareness that you either did or did not existed prior to this lifetime? Yes, the fact that I experienced this to my belief before I was born and the nature of the experience coming back means that I had to have existed before I arrived. Okay. During your experience, did you encounter any specific information, awareness that a mystical universal connection or unity, oneness, either does or does not exist? Yes, in so much as there was a universal joy, love experience when I was there. during your existence, okay, well, we're not gonna go through those. Let's see. During your experience, did you encounter any specific information or awareness regarding love? Yes, in so much as there was a universal joy love experience when I was there. Okay. Okay. What occurred during your experience included, let's see, context that was both consistent and not consistent with the beliefs you had at the time of your experience. Says, hard to say as this happened, I believe, before I had, quote, beliefs. Yep. The belief systems have not, were not molded yet for his current incarnation, which he's speaking from in this moment. Okay, so how accurately do you remember the experience in comparison to other life events that occurred around the time of the experience? I remember the experience more accurately than other life events that occurred around the time of the experience. I've always remembered this event. It is more real than anything that has since happened. Did you experience any changes in your values or beliefs after the experience that occurred as a result of the experience? Uncertain, hard to say, as I believe this happened before this life. Let's see. Are there one or several parts of your experience that are especially meaningful or significant to you? The sense of off-the-scale love and awe when I reached the end of the tunnel, the absolute anger, sadness when I was forced to return. This is it. And we see this in other pre-birth memories where they are. I did a commentary on, I don't know, this must have been last year, maybe 8-9 months ago, of a man who basically aborted himself twice and then kept getting sent back. And they were working with him and this and that. So yeah, that case is just off the wall. Okay. Let's see. Do you have any psychic, non-ordinary, or other specific gifts after your experience that you did not have before this experience? Uncertain. I have, despite my logical self trying to pass this off as anything but what it seems, been able to foresee very minor and extremely trivial events connected with others very shortly before they happen. It happens in the form of a daydream, then happens either immediately or within hours. So, just premonitions. Psychic events. Are there one or several parts of your experience that are especially meaningful or significant to you? The sense of off-the-scale love and awe when I reached the end of the tunnel. Okay, we already heard that answer. Have you ever shared this experience with others? Yes, probably when I told the first person I was around 13. Reaction of interest. Did you have any knowledge of NDEs prior to your experience? No. What did you believe about reality or experience shortly, days to weeks after it happened? Experience was definitely real. See above main description. I mean, he's talking about, he's firm in that this is a pre-birth memory. So, got to keep that in mind. So, this all happened before we even got here. What do you believe about the reality of your experience at the current time? Experience was definitely real. Okay, see again. Have your relationships changed specifically as a result of your experience? Uncertain, hard to say, as I believe this happened before this life. Kind of just repeating ourselves here. Okay. At any time in your life, has anything ever reproduced any part of the experience? Uncertain, no. When I was younger, thinking strongly about it, it produced maybe the tiniest, infinitely small recall of the off-the-scale love experience at the time. Tiniest. So he's basically saying it can't be reproduced. So in comparison to what he experienced, it's like, oh, they kind of basically threw him a bone, you know? All right, so let's, oops. Sorry about that. All right, did the questions asked and information that you provided accurately and comprehensively describe your experience? Yes. So, what do you think about that one? He's acknowledging the mind wipe, and I think it's really important that we talk about the mind wipe, and that there is multiple areas that this occurs in. And I'm convinced that it happens when you're at the light. Say you go through, you go through the life review, or right after the life review. But I think it happens there. And then what happens is you go through this soul school thing. Okay, there are, I guess we can say, I'm not even going to go down that road. Let's just kind of keep it with the more steady, we call them facts, the data patterns that scream out to us. So yeah, you go through the light, you get zapped at some point, then you go through the whole soul school thing, you're reunited, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes they'll even give you periods of time to unwind and relax and do your thing. But eventually they come knocking, and then you go through that soul school. Then you go to the point where you're usually your teacher or guide within your soul group will bring you over to the Council of Elders, and then like your life script is planned, or you do your life script planning with your guide, and then that's it. Then they wipe you again right before you get here. And then as a child, between roughly about 2.5, 3 years old to age 6 or 7, you can start theoretically spitting out information about your past lives, or maybe even something like a pre-birth memory. So it could be a past life or past life memory, or a pre-birth memory, or memories. And but once you reach that age of 7, you're gonna forget about it. You're not gonna really remember it, unless you really, really have an intuitive parent who's just on the ball, trying to help you and figure out for themselves what the hell is my kid talking about. My kid's talking about before he got down here, or that he had a different mother or a different father or a different brother, sister, or that. Sometimes they'll even say that I was your father last time. You were my daughter, or whatever, or my son. It's wild what can happen. So is there anything else I want to add to that? Don't be frightened by things like the whole, we're dealing with the memory wipe. We're dealing with high, like the love bombing, the familiarity. Plus, they think where they're trying to claw their way back to is actually home, when it's the furthest thing from the home. They want us to think that it's home, but then it's all part of the scam. It's all part of trying to get us back here. So yeah, it's some really, really crazy stuff. And I have some more. So we're not going to be going through any memory wipe. We're not going to deal with any of that crap. And we'll be good. Just remember, as soon as you realize, I mean, even if it's something, as soon as you realize that you've left your body, this is what you do. Let's say, okay, I left my body. Now, my first order, my first intention is to shield up. That shield is a cloaking mechanism. That shield can't be heard audibly, telepathically, and can't be seen visually. Because remember, you have like 360-degree vision. It could be possible that, you know, maybe you only have something like 180-degree vision, like in the very, very early stages, but you're most likely going to have 360 very quickly. So as soon as you realize that you're out of your body, first thing, no matter what you do, is shield up. Nothing is allowed to talk to you. That's your intention. Shielding with the steps that I talked about. The intention is to protect yourself. Okay? No interference, no interruptions of any kind. Then your next step is to send yourself out of the entire system into a zone that is your own reality. It's your own realm, your own reality, and in that reality, it's impenetrable. Nothing can interfere with that realm, okay? Now, personally, what I'm going to do is make sure that it's a void in the beginning, because if it's not a void, you know, you don't want distractions when you're first coming out of this, okay? Most likely we are going to be flooded with memories, because what this whole system relies upon is just boom, boom, just coming at you the moment you leave your body. They don't want you to regain your freaking memories too quickly. They want to come and just say, boom, 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 come with me, come on, come with me, come with me. Come to the tunnel, come to the light, let's go, come on, come on. And if they can get you to do that, you're done, you're cooked. You know, but if for some reason you find yourself barreling down the tunnel, set your intention properly. Refuse to go any further, okay? You know, refuse any sensations. No sensory feelings, no love, no nothing. You want to be just completely centered, completely lucid. Everything is lucid memory, okay? And then, again, you're off to your own realm, which I highly suggest should be a void in the beginning, just to give yourself some time. Then after that's happened, you can start saying, okay, let me mess around with my creator being abilities. What can my intention do? What the hell can I do with this? Chances are we're just going to have a influx and everything's going to be familiar. We're going to be like, oh man, we were gone for a long time, but now I remember everything that, you know, that I've learned since I came into existence. I think it will be like that. I do strongly believe it'll be like that. But the whole point is that you have to get yourself out of this bullshit first. That is first and foremost. So then you're chilling. You try and work with your creator being abilities to, and your intention to see where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, where maybe limitations are. We don't know the extent of all of this. We know that we're very powerful creator beings, but you know, what are the limitations? What are the exploits that are out there? Think about what are the exploits that got us into this mess. Okay, I mean, clearly there's something up. You know, that we, and you know, how we all got here, I'm sure that will unfold in and of itself. And I think a lot of the memories from here will be revealed. And all the memories that occurred before we got into this system will be revealed. But you're not going to be this, you know, we hear in NDEs all the time that, oh, I was all knowing, I knew the answer to every question, blah, blah, blah. But they always talk about how they're receiving information, okay? And, you know, it's information that is related to being confined within this matrix. It's limiting. Whereas we want to get past all that. We don't want to get stuck. We want to be the ones in control. So, you know, go out there, try and see, you know, your strengths, your weaknesses, what you can do, and where your limitations are so that this doesn't happen again. Let's see. Just really quickly, I saw MMJ says, oops. Let me see here. It didn't come up here. Let's see. MMJ says, night all. Remember, you don't need to continue to be here. Watch YouTube. You don't need to continue to be here. Watch YouTube this very second. Don't call someone a hypocrite, but feel agony at your own hypocrisy. I am not obligated to believe. Okay. I think I'm, okay, I think the message got a little messed up. Let me just try and scroll up. I apologize. Okay, here we go. MMJ says, night all. Remember, you don't need to continue to be here. Watch YouTube this very second. Don't call someone a hypocrite, but feel agony at your own hypocrisy. I'm not obligated to believe, Igor. Okay. Okay. I don't know what happened, MMJ, but thank you for your kind support. And, so yeah, let's, I'm going to, okay. Good night, sister. I hope you sleep well. Sleep well, Lynette. All right. I'm just going to go through a couple questions. It's late for me too. It's 3 a.m. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to everything, but, Jimmy sent me some. So, and the shout out to Jimmy for your help as always, my friend. Okay. Okay. Well, I don't know. The chat was moving fast and I was going through the thing, so I'd have to look. If these entities get their energy source, this is from Mendacious Reality. If these entities get their energy source from us, what do you think would happen if they get no energy? Like all energy sources, if they don't get it, the thing doesn't have the energy to work. Well, I mean, it's a good question, but I mean, I think they would be furious. I think this is okay. This is where the problem is with this particular question, because there are unknowns. Like, okay, so the parasites out there. There are some that believe that they are devoid of creator being abilities, and you know, they're just they're parasites, but they maybe are limited or lack the abilities that the standard being like us would have. Now, I don't necessarily believe that. I don't. I think it's possible, but I don't believe it. I think what they really want is that, yes, they are a creator being like us, but they want to have multiple creator beings under their thumb to be like super creator beings. You know, I mean, it's whacked out stuff, but that's what I think it really boils down to. And then of course the energy manipulation is part of creativity, because all sorts of things happen, whether it's positive or negative. You got you have art, like we were looking at last night. You have music. You have someone can be depressed and write poetry, or be happy and write poetry. I mean the lists are endless. So yeah, I mean, it's really tough to say what would happen. I don't even think I can begin to answer that question, because it's just not. If we don't know what exactly like they consist of and what their makeup is, then it's pretty difficult. Mendacious Reality says, what does everyone think would happen if these entities can't get loose, if they need our negative energy for? Well, yeah, they seem to feast off of negative mostly, but it's energy in general. Excuse me, even things like, you know, mundane work, mundane tasks, love, hate, happiness, things that drive you. But it's very clear that this reality really runs like a well-oiled machine, so to say, on the negative energy. That's what they truly like. So True Knowledge Sika says, do you think gravity is real or man-made to hold us here? I think even if no, I don't. I don't think anyone leaves here. Period. I don't. The human bodies, you can't break out of here. So regardless of what you feel about what's keeping us here, you know, it seems like in the past we've had, you know, half human, half bird or freaky looking things that were in the sky that resembled humans. So, you know, who's to say at some point that, you know, we didn't have, like, I feel like when we see imagery like that and it's rampant, that image is more a representation of a previous, like, transhumanism, trans species involvement with us in a previous advanced civilization, so to say. But they mixed species and they, you know, some beings were able to fly and do all sorts of things. So I just don't think anyone leaves here. I don't think it's possible. Unless, you know, you can theoretically leave here if you astral project. You know, I think every night when we dream, we leave here to some extent. But I mean, when you really think about it, I feel like some of like the most advanced astral projectors out there can possibly extend themselves beyond the matrix, but I think it takes a lot of effort, a lot of training. But I think the bulk of those experiences, we're talking about dreamland, we're talking about astral projection, all that stuff is still contained within the matrix. It's just that, you know, you're still attached to your body. So that's just kind of my opinion on it. So enemy 322. Okay, you know what? I'll save your question for next time, brother, because I'm getting kind of burnt out. I'm tired. It's 3:15 in the morning. So maybe we can save that question for next time, Jimmy, and I'll pin it and we'll talk about it. I could try and find my notebook too, because I took a lot of notes from some of my travels. My successes are few and far between, though. I've talked about that a lot, but the ones that I have had are really interesting. So, all right. I'm gonna probably leave it at that and go get some sleep. It's been a pleasure as always. And just really quickly before we sign off, I wanted to remind you that I have 2 YouTube backup channels. I have an Odyssey where I do exclusive live streams. I also have a DLive account where I'll be doing exclusive live streams. There is a website coming and an announcement should be made fairly shortly. And you'll be able to, and that, yeah, we'll get into that once it's more in line, and there'll be like a landing page and a countdown clock that before the grand opening of it. And once I've got it more figured out, but it's getting close. And but just to give you a sneak peek, it'll be something like almost like a social media type of site. And it'll be interesting. I'm just trying to get it all panned out behind the scenes. And let's see, what else was there? Oh yeah, if you want to join the channel memberships, you're more than welcome. Level 2 and 3 include monthly members live streams, and then I also recently got a just about a week or two ago, I got a new way to donate. Besides channel memberships was all that I had on the channel for the last year and a half, so, and super chats. But so if you want to try donating, or if you desire to donate off of YouTube, you're more than welcome to use the Stream Elements link. Again, no information will ever be withheld in exchange for money on this channel. Everyone is an equal, and if you want to help me buy some books, fill up the gas tank once in a while, I very much appreciate it, but no pressure. We're all living in these uncertain times, and I know it's difficult out there, so please, no information will ever be shared or withheld. No information will ever be withheld in exchange for money. Okay. I even felt weird about putting up a link, to be honest. All right, my friends. I'm getting tired. Like last night, I'm about to fall asleep on camera, so I'll see y'all again real soon. Thank you. Much love.